Hey guys, my name is Haley and I'm part of group 5, which is Paula, Sandra, and Q. Our strategy today is strategy number 2, preview and review. Okay. Good morning class, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. Today we're going to be continuing in our discussion about weather, and today we're going to be talking about clouds. Are you guys excited?
Yes.
Okay, well first we're going to start by watching an interactive video. I could encourage you guys to dance and sing along if you'd like. It's going to be about 2 minutes, and we're going to watch this every single morning when we're talking about weather. So hopefully by the end of the whole unit, you guys are super active and ready to go talk about weather.
DreamEnglish.com. Here we go. The sun comes up, 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 up. The rain comes down, 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 down. How's the weather? How's the weather? It's sunny, 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 sunny. How's the weather? How's the weather? It's cloudy, 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 cloudy. And the sun comes up, 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 up. And the rain comes down, 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 down. How's the weather? How's the weather? It's rainy, 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 rainy. How's the weather? How's the weather? It's snowy, 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 snowy. And the sun comes up, 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 up. And the rain comes down, 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 down. How's the weather? How's the weather? DreamEnglish.com. See you.
Okay, thank you guys so much for participating. So first I want to start by asking you guys a few questions and seeing what we already know about clouds. Can anybody tell me what they know about clouds? And I'm going to write down on here what you guys already know about clouds, and then we'll talk about what we're going to be learning today in terms of clouds. Q, can you tell me anything you know about clouds?
Cloud is white.
Oh, that's good. Perfect. White. Can you write that down? Good answer. Paula, can you tell me something that you know about clouds?
They're way, way up there.
Oh yeah, up high in the sky. You got that right.
And fluffy.
Fluffy, that's a good one. Okay, well what we're going to talk about today, and what I hope that you guys will pay attention to, is we are going to learn what clouds are. We are going to go ahead and learn how they're formed. And Q, we're actually going to learn today why they're white. And we're also going to learn the 3 different types of clouds. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go outside.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and look at all the different clouds that you see outside. Now, when you're outside, I want you guys to pay attention to all of your observations and really think about, what you think clouds are and how you think they're formed, And really just think about all the things that you see outside, because when we come back, we're going to talk about all of our observations, and then we're going to go ahead and start the lesson. So I'm going to have everyone line up, and we're going to go outside, and we're going to talk about, we're going to look at our observations. All right, class, now that we're outside, I just want to remind you, while you're outside looking at the clouds, make sure to start thinking whenever you're looking at the clouds and think about, what we talked about in class, why the clouds are white and what their shapes are. Try and look at, different things that you see when you're looking at the clouds, because when we go inside, we're going to be talking about a lot about the clouds, and I want to be able to remind you of what you saw out here when we're talking about, all the things we're going to be learning today. Like, look at that cloud. Like, that one looks a little circular, like you said, fluffy, things like that. We'll learn about clouds like that today.
It's flying.
They're flying. They're up there high up. They really are.
It has different shapes too.
Different shapes and sizes. That's a good observation. Remind yourself of that whenever we get back into class today. We'll definitely talk about things like that. Alrighty guys, we're going to go ahead and go inside now, and we're going to start class. Welcome back. Today, like I said, we're going to keep talking about clouds. I appreciate you guys being on your best behavior outside, and hopefully we have some good things to talk about. Like I mentioned earlier, first we're going to talk about what clouds are. And, it's a tricky subject, but hopefully today we'll be able to explain it and you guys can understand it. Clouds are large collections of tiny, tiny, tiny droplets of water or ice crystals. The droplets are so small and light that they can float in the air. Remember whenever you said that you noticed that the clouds were floating in the air? That's because these tiny, tiny, tiny droplets are the reason that they float in the air. I want to talk a little bit about how they're formed. Now, like I said earlier, all air contains water. But when water is really close to the ground, way down here close to the ground, it's usually in the form of something called water vapor. Now I'm sure you guys are wondering, what is water vapor? Well, water vapor is an invisible gas, and when I say an invisible gas, that means you can't see it. So when this water is way down here, you can't see it. And it's important when we talk about the formation of clouds because it's part of the process of how they're formed. When warm air rises, it expands, and when it expands, it cools down as well. So it starts warm, and it cools down as it expands. And cool air can't hold much water vapor. Now, if you guys remember earlier, we talked about water vapor being the invisible gas way down here, so you can't see it. So that cool air can't hold much of that water vapor. And so it turns into little pieces of dust that are floating in the air, and they form with those tiny droplets of water like I mentioned earlier. And when 1 billion of those tiny droplets get together, that forms a cloud.
So the cloud is heavy.
The cloud can be heavy because it's full of little bitty particles, billions and billions and billions of them. You can't even imagine how many there are. And I remember you guys talked about earlier whenever we were talking about what you guys knew. I believe Q, you said that clouds were white. That's a very good observation. I really appreciate you giving the class that information. And you're very right, clouds are white. And the reason that clouds are white is because they reflect the light of the sun. And they reflect all of the colors the exact same way. So here with this mirror, I'm going to show you what reflection really means. I'm going to shine this flashlight into the mirror, and what do you notice about when I'm shining the flashlight in the mirror? Can anybody tell me? It's shining.
It's shining the mirror and you see the flat back to us.
Yes, you're right, and that is exactly what reflection is. I'm shining it in the mirror, and it's shining right back to you guys, which is what reflection is. So when you're thinking about why a cloud is white, it's the sun is shining onto the cloud, and it's reflecting the light the exact same amount, and in turn it looks white. And I want to ask you guys, whenever you were outside, did you notice that there are different shapes and sizes of clouds? You guys notice that? Good, perfect. Well, what that has to do with is there are actually so many different types of clouds. And today we're going to talk about 3 different types. And I'm going to show you guys some pictures, and hopefully you guys can see the words as well. And if anybody can read one of these words, that would be great. If not, then I'll read them to you. The first cloud we're going to talk about today, guys, is going to be this cloud right here. Can anybody read that word for me?
Circus.
Good try, good try. Well, actually, it's pronounced cirrus. And this is going to be a good picture for you guys to look back on when we're doing our activity later, so that you guys can be able to see the cloud and know the characteristics and what it looks like. I'm going to pass it around. You guys look at it, look at the word, try and pronounce the word to yourself or to your partner, and we're gonna talk about what this cloud is. Here you go, Paula. We'll start with you. A cirrus cloud is a white feather-like cloud made of ice crystals. So remember when we talked about, what exactly a cloud is, we said they're made up of very tiny droplets of water or ice crystals. So in the cirrus cloud, that's going to be made up of feather-like ice crystals. And it is also white, like we mentioned earlier. All right, next, the cloud that we're going to talk about. Paula, can you try and read this one for me? Good job. I really like how you sounded that out. You're right on point. It is pronounced stratus. Good job. So this is going to be another one of those pictures I want you guys to look at when we're doing our activity later. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it around, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what it is as well. Now, a stratus cloud is an evenly gray, lower level cloud. So even though you guys think that the clouds are very high, which today outside they are, this type of cloud is a lower level cloud. It causes fog or like small amounts of little bits of rain or mist, and it's sometimes frazzled looking. So have you guys ever seen when you go outside to go to school in the morning and you feel like you can't see anything because it's so foggy?
Yeah.
That's
Can't see anything.
Yeah, you're right. That's what you're actually seeing there is a stratus cloud. So I want you guys to think about that whenever you're driving to school in the mornings and you see that. Remember, it's called a stratus cloud. All right, last today we're going to be talking about is going to be this cloud, and it is pronounced cumulus. Cumulus. I like how you guys are trying to sound it out. That's very good. And we're going to talk about what this is, and I'll hand this out to you to look at and try and work with your partner on sounding them out and looking at the differences. A cumulus cloud is a heap cloud with a flat base. Notice in the picture the base is flat, and in the middle or lower level the vertical development looks almost like cotton. And today what we're going to do in order to talk more about clouds is I'm going to give you a blue piece of paper. Each of you guys are actually going to get 3 blue pieces of paper. What I want you to do is I want you to look back at the words of the types of the clouds, what they look like, and I want you to try and make your own clouds. I want you to make one cumulus, one stratus, and one cirrus cloud. I want you to do your best, and we're gonna go over them, and we're gonna do something in a little bit once we're done with them, and we'll talk about that once we're done. I want you guys to try and write down the word that you see there, and if you need to use your elbow partner for help, that is perfectly fine. Use your pictures, ask me any questions that you may have, and in a few minutes we'll come back together and we'll talk about a few more things about clouds.
Which one we do first?
When you're doing the cloud pictures there, I want you guys to really think about the words, because tomorrow we're going to be writing a little story about clouds. So I want you guys to be able to remember the key concepts and the vocabulary that we talked about today. Remembering how a cloud was made and formed, and what they look like and the characteristics. And I want you guys to remember that, because tomorrow I'm going to have you guys write a story about what type of clouds you saw on your way to school. And I want you to be able to use the words and the types of clouds that we have listed right here. I really like that stratus cloud there. It's really good.
I don't know how to say that one.
That one is cumulus. Cumulus. And I have a great idea for us to practice these words. I was thinking we can take all of our artwork that we've made, and all of you guys have written the words, and we can put them in our own virtual sky for our classroom.
Yeah.
Everybody can come and put their clouds throughout this bulletin board that we have here. And so everybody's going to have 3 different types of clouds. I want you to put them all over, make them different areas, just like you would see outside. And in the classroom, we'll have our own, very own sky right here. And every day we can talk about what types of clouds we saw that day, and we can go over the different words and how they were formed, and remember the things that we learned about in class today. And remember, tomorrow we're going to be writing a story about what type of cloud you guys saw on the way to school, okay? I'm going to be sending home a worksheet that's going to have a little bit more information and questions about the clouds. I encourage you guys to work hard on that, and we'll go over it tomorrow.